It's the show the establishment warned you about.
Yeah, and welcome back to the Dr. Tommy Show, broadcasting from the free state of Florida. I am your host, America's Free Market Doctor, and this is Tracy.
Hello.
Tracy's back.
I've been out for a while.
She's been out doing important business, and we are broadcasting here from the free state, and you can join us online at drtommy.com/podcast, and for your convenience, we are broadcasting both in video and also via any of your MP3 favorite download platforms. We're on Rumble too, because a lot of times the stuff I say gets tagged on on YouTube is maybe disinformation. So Rumble might be a good backup plan for you. So today is
your birthday.
Today is my birthday. I don't know if I look older to you guys or not, but today is my birthday.
Happy 44th.
Thank you. And, patients think I'm older than I am. I'm 44 because of the Gaultieri hairstyle I have. And, for me, it's a hard thing to have your birthday on the 31st because usually Doctor's Day is around the 31st too. And so it's kind of like those people who have birthdays around the time of Christmas. I don't get to celebrate as much, for my birthday because Doctor's Day is such a big big thing in our house. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with it. DeSantis is the governor down here in our free state, and he's running against a couple people. And one of the people he potentially is going to run against is Nikki, who is the current Secretary or Commissioner of Agriculture. And then he's also going to run against potentially Charlie Crist. Well, this is from the Blaze. It says DeSantis trounces potential challengers in poll. It says a St. Leo University Polling Institute survey of Florida residents found that Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis enjoys a sizable lead over several potential gubernatorial rivals. So he's beating Nikki Fried when they do a hypothetical poll with her, 50.6 to 27%.
Wow, I'm not surprised though. We do have more Republicans in the state than ever, apparently.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis had a press conference the other day, and he said that there's 100,000 now more Republicans than there are Democrats, and historically this has been more Democrats. Mm-hmm. So
I wonder how Hillsborough County is going to rate. Because we know Hillsborough County is
a blue county.
Yeah, it's a blue county. So I'm wondering how that's going to, where are all the Republicans coming?
That's a good question. Well, we know several have come here.
Yeah, that's for sure.
To our county. Well, this one.
But I just wonder where we know the influx of people. We know they're coming from. A lot of them are coming from California, New York. Where are they moving to?
That is mostly a good question. He beats Crist in the poll 49% to 32%. So that's a pretty bad walloping.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time when you are running in a state like this, where it's pretty much, it's even for the most part. If you have a 6-point difference, that's huge. That's a blowout. 6 points is a blowout. Well, Lord, he's got.
Well, you know what? He's a negative Nelly. We didn't hear
Crist?
Yeah. We didn't hear much from him during COVID, but then towards the end, he wants to come out and bash the way Governor DeSantis handled things.
I don't know.
He's a negative Nelly.
Charlie Crist may not run in this election. There's a good chance that, like this poll says, that neither one of these guys are going to come close. They're going to both get pounded.
Definitely not Nikki Fried.
Right. No, she's unlikable.
Absolutely.
And if you're Charlie Crist, look, you've carved out kind of a niche as a congressman now. Used to be a governor, failed as a Senate campaign. And so since 2010, basically, he's not won a major contest.
Right.
He's won a Congress, but he got beat by Marco Rubio. He got beat by Rick Scott. And so he may just want to sit this one out because how many losses can you take on your ledger before your career is over?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would sit it out if I were him.
I don't know. I think he won't.
Yeah.
Sit it out.
This has been in the news recently. This is about the slap heard around the world. Chris Rock being assaulted by Will Smith before presenting the Oscar award the other night. And this is kind of interesting because Will Smith, as most of you probably know, unfortunately we all know this, is a cuckold, which is...
I was going to say, what is a cuckold?
A cuckold is a person whose wife is unfaithful to them.
Oh.
And usually a cuckold is something that is unknown to the person. This way, in this
Will
instance,
Smith's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
And Jada Pinkett Smith. Well, this is from Breitbart. This is John Nolte. He has an idea that this reason that he slapped Chris Rock because of this is because he's basically he's very embarrassed by this, and the reason why is because in his memoir, apparently he wrote about Jada and her relationship at that time with Tupac Shakur. Mm-hmm. And it says, none of this is a secret. This is from the article. It says, Smith himself has appeared on the show, most notably with a frank discussion about Jada, about a period of non-monogamy in their marriage. And he's, that's something else. Let me read this part. This is from his memoir. He goes, okay, this is Jada Pinkett Smith and about Tupac Shakur in the early 90s. This is from his memoir, Will Smith. He says, though they were never intimate, their love for each other is legendary. They defined ride or die, which I don't know what that means. In the beginning of our relationship, my mind was tortured by their connection. He was Pac, and I was me. Pac was like Harry, Will Smith's younger brother. He triggered a perception of myself as a coward. I hated that I wasn't what he was in the world, and I suffered a raging jealousy. I wanted Jada to look at me like that. So anyway, that's interesting because, when we saw that, it was really bizarre. This guy runs up on stage and just slaps him not for no reason, but it's just really out of character.
It is out of character. I don't think that it was the right thing to do. Will Smith is looked up to by so many people. He's played superheroes,
He's usually
in the movies.
Good wholesome movies too.
Yeah. So you've got this man, this actor that everyone looks up to, a lot of young kids, runs up on stage and slaps another man.
Yeah.
What are young kids thinking, I wonder?
Well, just like most things in our society nowadays, this has now taken on racial overtones. Okay, so this is from Forbes.
This be?
This is from Forbes. Breitbart, Forbes via Breitbart. It says, Forbes contributor, white supremacy to blame for Will Smith controversy.
Oh my God.
Forbes contributor Maya Nigel Hoskin has written that white supremacy is to blame for the controversy over Sunday night's altercation at the Oscars in Hollywood, where actor Will Smith hit comedian Chris Rock. It says, perhaps the larger question that we should be asked is why our blacks in Hollywood have routinely been expected to grin and bear embarrassment and degradation without expressing any discontent or risk as being viewed angry. Furthermore, why is it permissible for a black woman's health condition to be made content for a few cheap laughs at an award show? Will this incident overshadow the hard work of Will Packer, the black man who produced the award show along with an all-black team for the first time in history? I didn't know that. Did you know that?
No, I don't.
So the Oscars, they've been controversial now amongst the woke because they're too white. Okay,
so Will Smith is black.
Right.
His wife is black.
Right.
And Chris Rock is black.
Right. Because in today's society, we must note everyone's skin color.
Yes, we have to.
That's the first thing you have to notice.
First thing.
And then figure out quickly who they have sex with.
Yeah. We were not watching the awards, obviously, ceremony, but we did watch the video. And, in the video, it does look like Will Smith laughs.
He smiles. He struts back and smiles.
Yeah, so he kind of like a little smirk about it. I thought it was basically a laugh, but his wife wasn't happy about it. So then he has to puff up his chest and Oh,
you mean when the joke was first told?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about after he smacked him, because then he walked back and he was like laughing.
No. When Chris Rock first said the joke, they show Will Smith and it looks like he laughs about it.
Well, it's funny because earlier in the show, someone made a joke about their open marriage, and he laughed and she laughed. Oh, they belly laughed about it. Mm-hmm. It was another presenter, whoever they call it. I don't know her name. But that's back to this article that John Nolte was saying that he's got to bear this because as a man, I don't know.
Well,
it would take a different man than me to walk around with other men looking at me and knowing that my wife's infidelity is public knowledge.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, she did have an affair with a man, but Will Smith and her were separated at the time.
Yeah.
So they were not together. So I think that I think that is important. But then I guess when they got back together, they agreed to an open marriage, right?
Yes. And this is what he said. This is from Will Smith when he was on the TV show. He goes, Jada never believed in conventional marriage, Smith said. Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship. She grew up in a way that was very different from how I grew up. There were endless significant discussions about what is relationship perfection, what is a perfect way to interact as a couple. He goes, basically, he says, we have given each other trust and freedom with the belief that everyone has to find their own way. And marriage for us can't be a prison.
Right.
So,
right. And that's probably her thoughts, what she told him. Mm-hmm. Look, I need other men in my life.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what am I going to do? I want to stay married to you. Okay, then we'll have an open marriage. I mean, a lot of people do that, I think, swingers, not everyone, just sticks with each other.
But I think that is, as far as I could tell, that's a pretty good explanation of why he hauled off and hit him, is that he's been bearing this, obviously from this, he's been bearing this, what do you call it? Humiliation, mm-hmm. sadness, grief about it. And then he has to put on a smile. Like the person said that, the black people have to put on a smile and not be angry in Hollywood. I don't know what white supremacy has to do with it, but I think that's more toward the psychology.
And you know what? It's perfectly fine. Okay, so we know that anyone that's hosting any of these awards ceremonies, they do it in the Country Music Awards, they do it in the Oscars, the Emmys, everything. They all make jokes.
Yeah.
They all make jokes, okay? So sometimes, they might say things out of line.
Yeah.
That's fine. If Will Smith wanted to get angry, no one's going to complain that Will Smith looked angry. Just be angry, discuss it later. But to go up and actually assault a man,
well,
it's over the top.
Another way I look at it too is if you're gonna assault somebody, assault them. He smacked them.
That's why a lot of people think that it was
smacks another man. I mean,
that's why a lot of people think that it was fake.
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe because he had to show us, I'm a man. I'm gonna, stand up for my wife. Maybe that's why he just slapped him, because it didn't look too painful.
Yeah. Well, Will Smith.
If he punched him, that'd obviously be different. Chris Rock might come back and punch him back.
Will Smith played Muhammad Ali in a movie before Ali, but that was not a very good. I mean, that was not a very strong punch that he threw. If he had even hit him, I don't know if that would have knocked Chris Rock down.
I don't know. Either way, it was wrong.
It was wrong, and only thing that I was going to say that if he wanted to make a point, though, he should have if you really want to make a point about it, knock him out if you're really that mad.
Yeah.
Hit him.
He did seem, when he went back and he was yelling, "Keep my wife's name." Yeah. I mean, he did really seem angry.
Yeah. Well, he's got less self-restraint than Johnny Sack did. I think what happened to Johnny Sack and Jenny Sack was even worse in The Sopranos, where they said that she had a 90-pound mole removed off her ass, Ralphie Cifaretto. Yeah. And then Johnny Sack wanted him clipped, but he had more restraint than Will Smith. Johnny Sack, who's like at that point under boss of the...
And they should have taken Ralph out, because he was a jerk.
Ralphie got it in the end.
He did. He deserved it.
This is interesting. This is from, what's this? This was from mhealthintelligence.com. It says 51% of clinicians worry that telehealth hinders ability to show empathy. It says, though a majority of clinicians worldwide expect most of their consultations to be remote within the next decade, 51% believe that telehealth will negatively impact their ability to demonstrate empathy with their patients, a new report revealed. Mm. Well, that's true. That I don't know about it's true for the patient or for the physicians, but I know it's true for the patients, because the patients that we've had join here who hated telehealth.
I don't think telehealth is a good idea. I think that a physician needs to take a stethoscope and listen to their heart, listen to their neck, touch on their belly. They need a real good, thorough exam. Once you have, once you know your patient, Well, okay, sure. If they get sick, at some point, you can do telehealth. You can talk to them on the telephone, but this
is about replacing the relationship that is traditional with telehealth.
Some people will love that idea.
You know who will love it? The tech people.
Probably.
Because they get to design the software for it. And then they get government contracts to design software for Medicare. This would be a huge payment for tech companies, which we know are in bed with the government big time. Yeah.
I just read an article this morning about pharmacists providing more
telehealth
point of care type of, strep tests, flu tests that, it's getting more popular in several states. So instead of going to the doctor, this particular article was talking about a woman and her children. They were sick, and she lives 15 miles out in the country, and it was more convenient for her to just run to the pharmacy around the corner and have her pharmacist do a strep test, and then this pharmacist was actually allowed to prescribe a medication to the child, and they can give HIV prevention. Certain just illnesses. I don't know. I was just thinking, when do pharmacists have time to do that anyway, even if they want to?
Yeah, why would a pharmacist want to is my question. Because what if you get sued because here you are practicing medicine with a pharmacy license?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to if I was a pharmacist.
I don't think...
But who drives it is the corporations that employ these pharmacists, because they say this is another way to generate revenue.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I just think that if I was a pharmacist, I went into being a pharmacist because I want to deal with pills all day, help patients in that aspect, not treat them.
Yeah. Well, I can see why patients like it, because above and beyond everything, mostly, the majority of patients just want convenience.
Right.
They don't care if you... They don't care if you know what you're doing, because they have a good idea what they want anyway.
Right.
Especially when it's in terms of sickness, like, as we've all heard, I have a sinus infection because I've had a runny nose for one day. They want antibiotics. That's all they want. And if they could get that from a kiosk, they would. Oh, yeah. And I believe that will be the future, is the kiosk. You walk into a kiosk, you pull the curtain back, and then this doctor pops up on screen, wherever this doctor may be, or nurse practitioner.
That happens already. So you can go to Publix.
Yes, you're right.
And you can, sit down.
They're in a room.
Yeah, you can sit down on the computer, and then they talk to you. I just actually seen I think it was a commercial I just seen over the weekend where it's all about telehealth. Remember I showed it to you?
Which one?
It was an article, and I was on my computer, and it was an ad that came up. So they send you a kit. And it's, an ear thing,
Yeah.
And so the patient does everything themselves.
Yes.
And they said it's free. I don't know how it's free.
Probably through your insurance it's free.
But anyway, they keep track of your, your health and your wellness all on a computer. And they had some kind of little machine that you stick out your tongue and they can look in your mouth and your ears. I was like, good grief.
Well, I think a lot of it is driven by corporations, and they see this as a way. The big key is that insurance going to pay for it. If insurance pays for it, they'll go for it, whether or not it's good medicine or not good medicine. If insurance reimburses for it, they'll go for it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. Telehealth really became popular in the last 2 years. And I know a lot of people, they're fine with it. They think it's convenient
because it's easier for them. Because they can just sit down. I've never done it this way, but you can sit down in front of a computer and just have this list of patients that you're going to just hello.
Well, my sister had a telehealth visit for her eyes.
Right.
So she had some high pressure in her eyes.
Yeah.
And her follow-up visit was telehealth.
Yeah.
And it was basically like, so how are your eyes doing? Oh, they're not any better. Oh, okay. Well, let me change your medicine. Okay. All right. Well, stay on the line so they can get your payment of $75.
Yeah.
Thinking they didn't get to recheck your pressure. I don't know. She thought it was ridiculous also. She wanted to go in, but that was not an option.
They're going to have to give it up, though, because this COVID, I don't know, maybe they won't have to give it up, but the COVID excuse is getting less and less potent by the day for the reasons to do telehealth.
Yeah,
only.
I think a lot of people are just thinking, come on, we got to let it go. Yeah. When you call someone on, you're on hold for 2 hours and they're saying, due to COVID,
right.
Like, okay, you got to come up with a new excuse.
Right. This is something that I hate to say that I was right about.
Oh, you don't hate to say it.
Well, because of the content. This is from a Gateway Pundit. It says, beyond the pale for any civilized society to consider, newly introduced California abortion bill could legalize infanticide for several weeks after birth. Did I not predict this? Do you remember me telling you this?
Yeah.
This is the next thing. This is the next thing that's going to come.
Yeah.
After the child's born, there's remorse about having the child. It's inconvenient. They're going to be able to kill the child. And it's not going to be legal to do it, but there's not going to be any penalties to do it. Well, this is from Breitbart. And it says, we all know how extreme the liberal bastion of California is already. However, AB 2223 takes things to a whole new level. This is pure evil. This is from, like I said, Gateway Pundit. And this is an excerpt from the bill. A person shall not be subject to civil or criminal liability or penalty or otherwise deprived of their rights based on their actions or omissions with respect to their pregnancy or actual potential or alleged pregnancy outcome, including miscarriage, stillbirth, or abortion, or perinatal death. AB 223 also includes the most radical language of all proposals and clearly exposes the true colors of the radical pro-abortion lobby, according to Thomas More Society Special Counsel Charlie Lemandry. The bill explicitly allows for the, quote, brutal murder of newborn babies for weeks, months, or potentially years. Lemandry said, pointing out that the federal government defines perinatal as up to 24 months following birth.
What? So you can kill your child?
Well, if you read it, it's the law this way. If this law is passed, this is a newly proposed bill in the California state legislature. So it's not been signed yet, but you know they'll sign this.
So the men right now, men and women that are sitting in prison right now where they've killed their child, threw the baby up against
Maybe
the
they
wall.
can come out.
So you take the baby to a center and then it's done by a doctor, or can you kill your baby yourself?
It doesn't say. It says this is what the words say in the current bill, which has not been signed into law yet, but the proposed bill.
People are sick.
Well, it says, a person shall not be subject to civil or criminal liability or penalty or otherwise deprived of their rights based on their actions or omissions with respect to their pregnancy or actual potential or alleged pregnancy outcome, including miscarriage, stillbirth, or abortion, or perinatal death.
Crazy. I just read an article this morning about Colorado. So you have all the people from Texas running to Colorado.
To get abortions?
To get abortions. And they're very proud. They just ordered a new machine in Colorado that can kill your baby up to 20 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting.
And, they're talking in this article about how it's not right that some women are going to be forced to pay for their abortion out of their own pocket.
No, that's not right. That's not right.
Can you believe that? So they want to kill their baby and they have to pay for it themselves.
This is a society overall which is morally sick. And the more this stuff takes hold is the more you think that maybe the end's coming soon.
Well, you know what?
How much longer?
Maybe that's what we need. We would start over again, even though we've done it once.
Well, we know what the next step is. If you're a Christian, the next step is rapture.
Yeah.
There is no starting over. That's just a ball game at that point.
Yeah.
But you got to believe, though, that a culture can't live like this.
Well, plus, what other extreme laws can they possibly pass? They want to kill babies up to 2 years old or, 24 months old. What else? You always wonder.
That's the end of
how
society.
much crazier could we possibly get?
That's the end of society at that point, I think. If that becomes a law, then I think you basically say this culture is over. But I predicted that.
So we just barely missed the cutoff for Olivia.
Yeah. Didn't I predict that, though? Remember?
Yeah.
I said, this is what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, but I didn't say, well, they're extrapolating out that the federal government defines perinatal as 24 months. Mm-hmm. Therefore, this law will apply to perinatal, which therefore will make it 24 months. Mm-hmm. The law doesn't specifically say it. It says perinatal.
What state is this? California?
California. Of course it's California.
Yeah. Well, Colorado is a little crazy, too.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
Oregon?
Yeah, Oregon.
Remember that story we read about a woman? Now, what brought to mind was assisted suicide. But it wasn't in Oregon, but Oregon has assisted suicide or physician suicide, whatever you want. But in France, I believe it was, there was a woman who had dementia, and the family says she doesn't have a quality of life. Mm-hmm. Her quality of life's not good. And so they decided maybe it's time to end her life. So, and I guess there's like a 3-step process. First, you have to take a sedative, and then you have to take something else.
I remember this.
And the sedative you drink. Or you use it as a pill. Maybe it's a pill. And they tried to give it to her. They're like, Grandma, it's time for your pill. She's like, what are you talking about? I don't take this pill. What is this pill? Just take it, Grandma. Don't worry. And she wouldn't take it. So then they put it in her tea. They're like, Grandma, it's time for your nighttime tea. Okay. And it tastes funny. And they force it down her throat.
They held her down. There was like 3 people that held her down.
This is for your own good.
3 people held her down. I think one might have been a family.
Her daughter.
Her daughter or son.
Yeah, because I remember we were saying, well, what's their...
Yeah, and they forced it on her, and then she died.
Yeah.
That's murder.
Well, that's murder, and this is murder, too. This California bill's murder.
I do agree with assisted suicide. I think a bit... Obviously, they need, if you have a chronic illness and, you're suffering, it's been 5 years and you're like, you know what, I'm ready to go. I'm going to take some sleeping pills.
Not? What about if you're just sad? What about if you say, look, I don't have anything to live for?
I don't know. I think if you have a terminal illness.
Yeah, that's terminal illness.
Yeah, terminal illness, not depression or anything like that. But a terminal illness and you're going to die anyway and you just want to leave, you just want to get it done. I'm in pain every day. I want to just go ahead and give me a pill, Tommy, so I can just go.
I was talking to someone whose family member had this assisted suicide. I think it was in Oregon. And the way you do it is you plan for a day. You say, okay, Friday the 13th or whatever, this is it. They said that the events leading up to that were very traumatic, bizarre.
For the family?
Yes. Yes, and they said...
No.
So they said that the events leading up to it was just odd. It was just very uncomfortable, and then it eventually took place. But I can imagine, like today, we'd be like, "All right, Tracy, you know what? For tomorrow's a big day, But
yeah, well, we've both seen. Everyone has probably encountered a situation where you have to watch a loved one die.
Yeah,
and. If they came to me and said, I'm ready to go, I'm just laying here, I'm in pain, I'm miserable, can we do something to end this? I think it's okay.
Well, I think what's underutilized in the United States for sure is palliative care.
Yeah.
Palliative care, if done correctly, achieves similar result to a suicide.
Yes, you're right, but it's
if done correctly.
Unfortunately,
because you relieve the suffering. So let's say you are a cancer patient, you're suffering, and you're in pain all the time. With palliative care, you can give them enough medicine to make it to where they're not in pain,
right?
Which will have the side effect of ending that person's life because of the side effects of the drug. But that's not your intention. So palliative care, if done correctly, not all the time, obviously, but palliative care, if done correctly, is achieves the same result as not having to suffer that a physician-assisted suicide would do. But it's an interesting question. It's an important topic to talk about,
right?
Because there is, you have to say, well, at the end of the day, like Walter Williams said, I own me. I own Tommy McElroy, and how do I show that I have ownership? Because I can control my body. So at what point is, do they draw a line? You can control your body to that point, but not to this point. That's what the idea behind legalizing drugs is, or decriminalizing drug activity. Because if someone's shooting up heroin in their home, we find out about it, and can you arrest them and take them to prison? Yes, you can. Yeah. But I mean, they want to shoot up heroin. Honestly, that is their. I don't condone it. I think hopefully there would be different reasons for it, but they need drug treatment. They don't need to be put in prison, charged with a crime.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, the thing about palliative care is it's usually not done soon enough.
No, it's not. It's done usually within days of death.
Usually days. The patients, I mean, with your stepmother, I mean, she never even got to start her morphine.
No. And the reason for it is I think there's a lack of a discussion with doctors about the end of life. They don't want to talk about it. It's an uncomfortable thing. And the patients don't want to really talk about it either. So it's just kind of left, not spoken about. And then it just happens to where you get to a point where they say, look, we have to have palliative care because we can't, take care of their pain. But by the time, like you said, it's too late. It's already. So But I was always, saddened by that when I was a resident, because these people would come in, these older people, a lot of comorbidities. They're not going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they're not going to survive. But they would be in there to ICU getting pressors, to keep their blood pressure up. They'd be on, Zosyn, all these antibiotics, trying to save them from this bacteremia for what? To send them home, possibly send them home, and then just bounce back again, or just withdraw these invasive measures and then give them palliative treatment.
Right. Like you said before, I think it's up to the patient on what they want. If some patients are like, yes, give me CPR, do everything you can to save my life. I am not ready to go. Okay, then do that, Yeah. But they always do ask you when you go to the hospital,
Yeah, it was,
what your feelings is towards that.
This is an interesting article. This is from the American Greatness. This is Follow the Science or Follow the Money. This is from an excerpt from the book The Real Anthony Fauci, written by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. prior to now was royalty among progressive circles, because he's RFK Jr. He's he's Kennedy. Now he's not so much because of this.
So he wrote this book?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a very, from what I understand, I haven't read it, very well researched book.
Okay.
But it's talking about Anthony Fauci and all of his dealings. Anyway, this is from the book. This is just a few things. This is something that I was not aware of. It says The Real Anthony Fauci, and this is some of the things that are from the book. Bullet points. The CDC owns 57 vaccine patents and spends $4.9 billion of its $12 billion annual budget buying and distributing vaccines. The CDC. High-level NIH physicians, including Fauci, receive up to $150,000 in royalty payments on drugs and vaccines they help to develop and usher through the approval process. It says, between 2010 and 2016, every drug that won approval from the FDA, 210 different pharmaceuticals, originated from research funded by the NIH. It says, Fauci, from his position at the head of the NIAID, dispenses $7.7 billion annually in the form of research grants, including $1.7 billion funneled annually from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, a power he uses to reward those who do his bidding and bully and defend, blah, blah. So it says that, this is the last thing. It says the FDA receives 45% of its budget from pharmaceutical industry through what is euphemistically called, quote, user fees. So basically the pharmaceutical companies say, hey, I just had this have this drug we sent in the market and we needed to go through the process, and the FDA says, okay, well, we need to have money to test your product. So it's like, okay, here's $45 billion.
Yeah. So moral of the story is we need to come up with a drug.
Yeah. Yes. The moral of the story is you need to come up with a drug, or you need to get on some board or something of these pharmaceutical companies and then lobby the government, and don't have to come up with it yourself, but just be around it. And that's what the big thing is with the way our government runs, is most of what the government is doing is finding ways to get money from the Treasury. Long time ago, Milton Friedman said that the invention of Medicare and Medicaid was only to allow corporations to more easily eat at the public trough. That's what his reasoning was for Medicare and Medicaid, under the auspices of helping old people and poor people, blah, blah, blah.
Of course, they're always helping.
But that's interesting. So I'm interested in reading that. This is a huge article, though. It's got all kinds of stuff in it. It talks about...
Yeah, well, might have to purchase this book.
Yeah. And then one last thing I want to talk about is President Biden is doing a potential tax gains, unrealized gains on taxes on unrealized gains. This is part of their new budget. And this is for all you homeowners out there. It says President Biden on Monday unveiled a new minimum tax targeting billionaires as part of his 2023 budget request, proposing a 20% rate that would hit both income and unrealized capital gains of the wealthiest Americans. And so you may read that and you say, well, I'm not a billionaire. What do I care? Well, I'll tell you a little story about that in a second. But then in the article it says, this is Brian Brinberg, who's is an economist. He said, they're going after billionaires, but this is the same administration that wanted to add 80,000 new IRS agents. They're not there to go after billionaires. And the story is that when the income tax amendment was first passed I believe it was in 1916. They said that this income tax will only ever affect the top 1.5% of wage earners. And you see where that's got us.
Yeah.
But unrealized tax gains means if you have a stock that appreciates, say you do well in a stock and it's worth 10 times more than what it was when you bought it, at the end of the year, you're going to have to pay taxes on that, even though you never sold it.
Yeah, I don't know how they can do that.
It would probably be unconstitutional.
Because we know that, I'll use the example for stocks. So we know you can lose a lot of money. Yeah. So let's say in December, you've got $100,000 and then your stock just nosedives in January. So you had to pay pay taxes on it in December. And then what happens in January when you no longer have that money? I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they can do that.
And I tell you one thing for sure is that billionaires are not going to pay this. Billionaires and the government are kindred spirits. They're, they're together for each other. They use billionaires as a cover to say, look, we're not attacking we're attacking the billionaires. But billionaires aren't going to pay this. No. Billionaires will find out ways, trusts, other things, companies to shield their assets to where they're not going to have to pay this money. But the trickle down will happen.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Where they say, okay, oh boy, you really did well on that stock, Mr. and Mrs. Firefighter and doctor. Therefore, you're going to have to pay it because now you fall under the wealthiest category because you make over, let's say, $200,000 a year. Suddenly, that's wealthy.
Yeah.
And and those people who make $200,000 a year, they're not getting all these handouts that the rest of the people are getting. And on top of that, they're going to have to pay unrealized taxes on unrealized gains. That will kill the economy.
I don't know how they can do that.
I don't know how we're going to even make it now. With the price of food and gas, I don't know how we're going to make it. We have a patient, so a truck driver, said that a few months ago there was an uptick in the fuel costs. He's a truck driver. So he said his fuel costs overnight increased, and it was a big increase. So at that point, after that big increase, he was paying $1,700 a week in fuel to haul stuff back and forth. Well, that was then. Now he's paying anywhere from $2,700 to $3,000 a week in fuel.
That's insane.
I don't know how we don't pay more for the stuff we have now already. I'm surprised if the price of hamburgers not $10 a pound. I
know. Well, you know how I've been buying those eggs. I think there's 60 eggs, and they were like $8. I priced them yesterday. They're $10 now.
$2 up.
$2 up.
Yeah. Yeah, and
everyone is seeing it. Everyone is seeing the price of you. Obviously, everyone's seeing the price of gas when or at the gas station. But food,
but income's not going up.
Income is not. Well, they are saying that. I see signs up everywhere. They are paying $15 an hour for low skilled jobs. Yeah. But you can go make $15 an hour. And
that's because they don't have anybody wanting to work.
Yeah, that's true. They're desperate for employees.
But like I wonder if we did a poll of our patients and said, okay, have you had a 7% raise last year? Did you have a 7% raise? I know we didn't have a 7% raise.
No.
Our prices are the same.
Our prices are the
same. We didn't raise 7%. So we're just, making do. And it's not the, boohoo us, but I'm just saying people's incomes aren't going up with the rate of inflation.
Right.
It'll be pretty soon that we're going to have to expand our garden to our whole yard.
I know. Well, we just had a patient tell us too that they bought a
cow with their neighbor.
Yeah, they're going in because we know the price of beef. So chicken has gone up, yes, and fish has gone up, but the price of beef has gone up a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to get 150 pounds of beef. I don't know what the price is, but it's be better than what they pay in the store.
Yeah. Well, there's that Bloomberg article too. They give them tips on how to adjust to the inflation. They said, don't have big family gatherings.
Yes.
Invite fewer people over for Thanksgiving.
Eat soybeans.
Yeah, eat beans instead of eat the plant instead of the animal, and cut out the middleman. It's cheaper. What else did they say? Oh, take public transportation.
Yeah, I mean, these are unrealistic things. Okay, could you imagine us taking public transportation?
Yeah, right.
I mean, most people cannot take public transportation. I'm going to go to a bus stop and sit and wait for the bus, and then they're going to drop everybody off. I mean, it's an extra 2 hours out of your day if you decided to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you lived in the city.
Yeah.
But
it's made for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting collection of articles, but Anyway, I don't know. For all of you out there who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And check us out on drtommy.com/podcast. And then if you're in the area and you're looking for a face-to-face doctor and nurse, and you're also looking for someone to return your call, because it's such a hard time for patients to find doctors who will return their call. We just met a couple this morning who said their doctor just won't return their call. All they want is a doctor to return their call. And so we're here for you. And if you're interested, cruise on over to drtommy.com and check that out. In the meantime, it's good to have you all, and have a good rest of your week. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.